After a remarkable regular season, many questioned whether or not Indiana's style of offense would translate to playoff basketball. Once it did against Milwaukee, those same doubters questioned whether or not it would hold up against a tougher defense like the Knicks. Well, I think we have an answer to that, as they've produced an offensive rating of at least 120 in 5 of the 6 games, getting pretty much whatever they want, whenever they want. That all culminated in Game 6, where, facing elimination, they absolutely torched New York to keep the series alive. All season long, the staple of this offense has been their pace. There's no doubt that they are the best transition team in basketball, in many ways a modernized version of the 7 seconds or less Suns. The benefit of playing with speed is that you get to attack an unset defense. When everyone is scrambling to find a man, that typically means there's an advantage to exploit, and Tyrese Haliburton has made a living out of maximizing these situations. Take this play for example. He pushes the ball down court and all 5 defenders are back, but nobody tracks a cutting Siakam, and by the time they realize it's too late to recover. It could be even the most subtle advantage. Haliburton recognizes that there's nobody in position to step in front of Nembhard off the catch, which results in a closeout that he can attack on his way to easy points at the rim. This next one's after a made basket. All Haliburton does is kick the ball ahead to McConnell, and the Knicks don't have a rim protector back, so when he quickly attacks the cup, there's only one man to beat for a layup. Another advantage that playing with pace creates is the potential for cross matches. On this one, Siakam gets the much smaller McBride, and they clear out for a post-up as he draws an intentional foul. Here's a real similar play from early in the 4th, where Isaiah Jackson just streaks down the middle where he gets cross-matched with Brunson down low. From there, all he has to do is establish position, and he just uses his size to muscle in 2 points. You'll also see them get a decent amount of cross matches on the perimeter. Notice how Hartenstein is ready to pick up the trailing Turner, but nobody steps over to Toppin on the wing, so he has to, and that creates a speed advantage as Toppin puts the big man on a poster. You turn on any Pacers game from throughout the year, and these are the things that consistently show up. Playing with as much speed as possible, taking advantage of closeouts or exploitable matchups, but interestingly enough, this Game 6 wasn't about that. Here's a look at their offensive pace over each game of this series. The number is the average amount of seconds they take per possession, meaning that the higher the mark, the slower the pace. In games 1 through 5, they were pretty consistently around the same range, as the Knicks couldn't slow them down. But in Game 6, they were noticeably slower, so the key to such a huge night was actually their half-court offense. What makes their attack in the half-court so lethal is the sheer amount of skill they're able to put on the floor. Pretty much every single player in their rotation can shoot, dribble, and pass, so at all times there are 5 players who are a threat to make something happen, and this is augmented by the fact that their stars are capable away from the ball, so you have a constantly moving offense where the decision making is as sharp as it gets. Haliburton in particular is always looking for opportunities to relocate as he hunts for space on the perimeter, and he's way too good of a shooter to leave unattended, but as soon as he finds that opening and draws a hard closeout, he's putting the ball down on a drive, which keeps the defense in rotation as he kicks it back out to Nembhard for a quality 3 of his own. Speaking of Nembhard, his offense has been incredible in this run. Evidently, he's a threat to shoot, but he too will beat closeouts, and he's got some craft when it comes to scoring at the rim. He's also awesome as a secondary passer. This time he receives a handoff and kicks it over to Turner, who at the 5 is also a threat to shoot or slash as he gets to the paint for a big time dunk. Here's one that starts with a 2-man game between Nembhard and Turner, and with seemingly no advantage to attack, Turner kicks it cross court to Toppin in the corner, and you wouldn't believe me if I told you what he's gonna do with the ball. He's been a big piece off the bench, as has TJ McConnell, with his ability to apply constant pressure on the defense with drives. This time he kicks it out to Nesmith, forcing that long closeout, and by now I think you get the idea. Of course, these off-the-catch opportunities require someone to first shift the defense in some way, and more times than not, that's Haliburton's job. From there, the complementary players can attack a scrambling defense, and as I made very clear, they're phenomenal at doing so. A lot of their half-court possessions start with a high ball screen for Haliburton, and he's always looking to turn the corner, so if nobody steps in front of him, he's taking it to the rack. This is where that advantage creation comes in. A second defender has to close the lane, which leaves Toppin open on the perimeter, and like clockwork, you have the closeout, the drive, then the dump off to Turner for easy points. Because Turner's a threat to shoot, they can mix it up and send him to the corner while Siakam sets the screen. Halliburton turns the corner and is met with a drop, so he patiently plays in between and steps back into open space for one of his jumpers. And in the event that these Halliburton and Siakam pick and rolls don't materialize into anything, the floor is already spread out for Pascal to set up in the middle. From there, he can show off his isolation game. These inside the arc ISOs have been another key source of offense for them, especially against a shorter defender like Hart. He pretty much has unlimited access to mid-range jumpers. And then when he's against a bigger but slower defender in Hartenstein, he can use his speed to put pressure on the rim. He draws help, kicks it out to Turner, and I'm not even going to say the rest because I'll sound like a broken record. The thing with Siakam is that he's one of those weird archetypes who has the size and length of a big, but moves with the agility and fluidity of a wing, so he creates a matchup problem for most defenses. OG Anunoby was a great answer, but with his injury, the Knicks are out of luck and don't really have a way to slow him down. They could try doubling him, though he's a really good passer, and we already know how Indiana takes advantage of those opportunities. And even when his isolations do get stifled with seemingly nowhere to go, they can just reset the offense and come up with something else, such as a ball screen for Nesmith, who's going to take it to the rim himself. This comes back to the skill I talked about, and really how versatile that can make their approach. Why not run a pick and roll with Nesmith as the ball handler and get some free throws? Why not let Nembhard initiate the offense and apply pressure before leaving it to Jackson for a tough finish in traffic? Most notably though, it's TJ McConnell and his ability to initiate that really adds that next layer. He's typically the one running pick and roll when Halliburton's on the bench, and when he's not sneaking his way into the paint, he's probably pulling up for a mid-range jumper. And just like I mentioned earlier, if he comes off the screen without an advantage, he can just get the ball to Siakam in the middle for one of his jumpers. After that last one, they ran the exact same action on the next play. TJ sees the extra help and kicks it cross court to Jackson, who moves it right back to Siakam as he once again turns into a soft touch jumper. When it all comes together, the pace, the skill level, and the versatility, the ceiling that this offense is capable of reaching is probably higher than anyone else in the league. In Game 6, they produced an offensive rating of 134.9. But what's really interesting is that they actually didn't shoot outlandishly well. They only made 34.6% of their threes, well below their season average, and actually their lowest mark of the series. This once again speaks to the versatility. They made 61.5% of their twos, primarily as a result of their 62 points in the paint. And they also matched the Knicks' entire identity when it came to the possession game, grabbing 14 offensive rebounds to their 13, while only turning the ball over 8 times to their 7. All that's to say, don't sleep on this Indiana offense. They really check every box when it comes to putting the ball in the basket efficiently, except for say maybe a top tier one-on-one scorer. They've shown that it's possible to produce all-time results without one though, and we'll have to wait and see what solutions the Knicks come up with as we approach Game 7. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought of this game. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.